And we are back with segment number 2 of the Cummins Real Estate Show with Michele Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. And of course, we have our very special guest here too. We're talking architecture because you know more about that than I do, Michele. And you definitely know more than I know, Joel.
A little bit, yeah.
Joel Marples is here from Fourth Dimension Design and Drafting, if you weren't here for our first part of our show. So I wanted to get into the kind of the nitty-gritty, and because those who have never hired an architect or have never needed this service before, Joel, is the process when they come in to see you or give you a call?
Usually say someone comes in and they say, I want a custom home, but I don't really know what I want. I tell them to come on in, bring anything that you have, say pictures, Pinterest saves,
I love Pinterest.
Things on house that you found that you like. I tell them bring it all in, and then what I do is I have about a 100-question questionnaire, and I start at question 1, and we work through it, and it's about a 1 to 2 hour discussion about what anything they could have in a house. So how many garages do you want? Do you want a formal living room? Do you want a formal dining room? Do you want a more open concept? Do you want master on the main? Where do you want the laundry? All things that people don't necessarily think of. So we run through this for about 1 to 2 hours, and then by the end I have a pretty good idea of what they want. And the way my brain works is I'm almost designing it as they're talking. I'm moving rooms around. I'm like, okay, they want this, so I'm going to configure it like this. Oh, no. Now they want an office there, so that's going to push this room. So by the end of the meeting, I kind of have an idea of how I'm going to lay it out. And that's just kind of how my mind works as they're talking.
That makes perfect sense. It's almost like a buyer's list of questions I have for buyers and what they're looking for, and getting to know their personality and their quality of life they're looking for, and all the aspects of their family dynamics, if they have pets, their hobbies, like all this can go into as well. But what's interesting too is do you do mostly custom homes, or do you have a niche, or do you do, because I know you do obviously commercial and all sorts of things.
I think we have a pretty even split. We do custom homes, we'll do renovations, we'll do additions, we'll do tenant improvements, which is what you're doing, where you're just moving into a space and you want to redo the space. We'll do new commercial buildings, we do townhouse complexes, we'll do rezoning applications, kind of the whole spectrum. And I don't think there's not anything that we necessarily specialize in, but we kind of specialize in that we do everything.
And you actually, you'll go to the steps of even putting in the application to the city for your client?
Yes, we do offer that where we can fill out all the paperwork and we can drop it off at the city and deal with the city through the process. Because
it could be daunting, especially if you're not used to it. So definitely have Joel and his team do that for you, I would suggest.
Yes, it's a good idea.
So once that happens, how long does it typically take?
So say specifically on a custom home, we'll go through that questionnaire, and then maybe it'll take me about a week to come up with a first design, which is usually like you would see in a plan book, like main floor and upper floor. And I'll send it to them, and then we'll meet again and we'll go over things that they like about it, things that they don't like about it. And usually they kind of move a few rooms around, or I would like this bigger. So it's about another hour discussion where we go over the preliminary. And then it kind of goes back and forth like that, maybe 2 or 3 more times where I revise it and then I send it back, and then I'll maybe add the front elevation and the basement layout, and then they'll critique that. And then usually by about the 3rd or 4th time, it's like, okay, I really like this. Proceed to finishing the rest of the drawings. So then it goes to our drafting department. They put all the stuff that when you look at the drawings makes you dizzy. It's all the structural trusses and the joists and the beams and the cross sections showing all the insulation and the dimensions and all that kind of thing that the city needs and the builders need to actually build the house.
So you work with a lot of cities and municipalities, obviously.
Yes.
And how quick are they once you really apply for that building permit?
So I think during COVID was the worst of times, as most people would agree with the cities, where they got very behind because there was lots of people building, and a lot of them were working from home and they were having staffing issues. So some of them got to where it was a year wait for reviews, but I think most of them are between 1 and 2 months. Some of the longer ones are maybe 3 months now. So it's definitely corrected. They've done a very good job at bringing on staff and catching up, I think, in this last 6 months.
Yes, because I know, especially Mission, we don't have a lot of building starts. Abbotsford doesn't either. We just don't have. We had like nothing last year practically, and this year is a little better. But with the immigration growth and the population and the housing needed, I'd like. How many custom homes does it seem that people reach out? Because when I'm driving around all the time, every day, it's part of my job, and I do see a lot, especially in certain areas of Mission. I see a lot of great custom homes.
We have a lot of property,
That's
which
true.
is the one thing that a lot of municipalities don't have, which is why people come to Mission generally. And I think the reason the applications in Missions are more complicated is because, say you have a rural property, there's a creek on it. Now you have to get riparian studies. You have to design a driveway that's going to come in. So rural properties definitely take a lot more planning. Versus a city property, a lot of that's already done. You just have a sewer connection, a water connection. You design your house and you're good to go. So, but I'd say in Mission, we probably do 30 to 50 per year.
Wow, there's some gems in Mission. So you also are like a one-stop shop, because I go into your office and there's everything that you would need seems to be right in your building. Can you share us a bit about that?
So it's part of the concept of our new office that we moved into. So it was a lot of space, and I'm like, I don't necessarily need 3,000 square feet, but I need maybe half of that. So what we decided to do is invite a bunch of other engineers, and so we have a civil engineer, a structural engineer, an interior designer, a land surveyor, a home builder, a renovator, all in the same space. So it allows us to kind of work collaboratively. And it speeds up things for the customers, because they can just come to one place, pick up 4 or 5 drawings that are already all collaborated, and we can print them all in one place. And it just seems, for the customer, to cut out a lot of red tape.
That's worth its weight in gold. All the time it takes to try to find referrals or try to find the different professionals that you need to do this, and you have everyone right there, which is just fantastic. I love that. So, sorry about that. So also, I wanted to ask, you're full-time at what you do, but you also somehow find time to spend with family and friends and be outdoors and all that. And I really do think that lends to your friendly nature, and you're very empathetic, or not, what am I trying to say? You have empathy, like you connect with your customers and your clients, which is really neat, because you're in a professional field, but it's also very personal, because these are people's homes that they're trusting you with. So I think that lends very well.
Yeah, I think it's part of it's a very intimate process as you're meeting with them, and they're pouring out their hopes and dreams to you. They also have budgets, so that's something you have to sometimes tell them. Yeah, that sounds good to have that roof deck and that pool, but I don't think you can afford it. But here's what you can afford. So there's a little give and take, and you become very close with people and their families, and a lot of them invite me back when the house is finished to see the house and give tours and things, which is really neat.
That's awesome. I love your website too, by the way. And so, I always like to ask, usually when somebody does something like you do, you must have a favorite, but you probably don't, or it's hard to probably think of a favorite, because they're all kind of personal to you, I would think, because you're putting a little bit of yourself in all your designs.
Yes.
Well, maybe not favorites. I would go with, what's your Mona Lisa? What's your masterpiece so far? There you go.
I would say there was one that I did very early on in Mission on Whidden Street, and it's a post and beam house that I did probably in 2008. And it was one of those ones where the client came in and said, I'm not going to put any parameters on you. I want you to use your full imagination and just anything you can think of, put it on paper. And I did it. And I think it's one of the more iconic houses in Mission, if you know which one I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I do. And I love that street. And absolutely, it stands out. That must have been so fun. It's like carte blanche. You could do whatever you want.
It's really neat when they're like, So we did like things like a walk-through shower and sunken kitchen and just things that are a little bit wacky, but they wanted things to be original. So yeah.
Are the same owners still there?
Yep, same owners.
Oh, I haven't been inside of that home. I would really love to check it out.
Yeah, the coolest part of it is to the front door we did a bridge. So there's a bridge that goes over to the front door, and there's actually running water underneath it. So it creates a bridge effect, and they actually pump the water so it actually rushes
so
like
neat.
a stream. Yeah, it's a very, very neat house.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Joel, for coming on. And I am excited to showcase some of your listings today at my extravaganza open house. Again, we've got 4 of Joel's designs out at Harrison Highlands, so you can either go on our social media and check out the map or call me, just punch in Harrison Highlands on Mount Woodside and you will definitely see the signs. And a new listing coming up is an actual 55 plus condo style townhouse, so stacked townhouse. It's an upper unit in Abbotsford off Trafalgar, and it's priced at $430,000, and so keep an eye out. That's coming up next week, and it's move-in ready, all freshly painted and everything. And then I've got a new listing that just came out the other day, and I'm actually going to have an open house at it today between 2 and 4, and it's off Holiday Avenue, and it's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and it's a custom home. It's very character. It's like one that the father from Brady Bunch would have built, okay? And that one is on a 7,500 square foot, or actually a little larger, corner lot. So come out and have a look at that one today between 2 and 4 as well. And I'm gonna, I got a quote. We always do a quote on our show. And you mentioned, Curtis, Frank Lloyd Wright.
I did.
That's a quote I thought I would bring it today. I thought it was very suiting having Joel here. And the quote is, "There is nothing more uncommon than common sense." That's
very, very true. All right, if people want more information about your listings and things like that, where can they go?
MicheleCummins.ca.
And join us again next week when we will talk real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on a show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.